Welcome back to your last Java game development tutorial. And so the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to deploy your game so that you can distribute it to anybody that wants to play it, whether they're on a Mac or Linux or Windows. They can play your game because of this jar, as long as they have Java installed on their computer. So before we do that, I want to make one small change to our program, which, if you remember, oh god, it's loud. Sorry. If you remember, we can actually resize our frame, which is really bad for our game since the game doesn't resize, but the frame does. So we want to make it so you can't resize the frame. That way you don't get a ton of white space and it doesn't look really bad. So to do that, we just go to our game class, into our constructor, and we're going to say set resizable, right, to false. And so now when I go ahead and hit play, I can go and I can't resize it. No matter how hard I try, I cannot resize the frame. So that's good. That's just a good thing to have. You can make it so all your graphics resize, but that's really not worth it, in my opinion. Okay, so let's go and start exporting our game. The first thing you want to do is go down here to your reference library and make sure you have NovaFlux referenced, because your game depends on the code in this jar file. So you need to make sure it's under your reference libraries. And then we're going to go to our tutorial and we're going to right click and we're going to say export runnable jar file. We're not doing these two, just a runnable jar file. Hit next, and then we're going to pick our launch configuration. And for me, I have like 3 that are extremely similar. And what you want to do is you look over here for the project name that you're working in, and then you look at the class name for your main method, which is game for us. So I'm going to pick this one. And then you give it your export destination, which for me, I'm going to put it on my desktop, and I'm going to call it test.j. And then make sure you hit extract required libraries into generated jar. Because what this is going to do is it's going to take our NovaFlux jar, and then it's going to package it inside of our test.j jar. And that will make it, if you don't have the NovaFlux library inside of your test jar or your game jar, your game's just not going to run. So make sure you do that. And then go ahead and click finish. And then this is just telling you that you're using someone else's code. Make sure that they're not going to sue you, which NovaFlux is not going to sue you. And then I have it on my desktop. So since I'm on Windows, I can easily left click and then the game starts. And then I'm just going to check, make sure my resources are loaded, which it looks like they are. All my images are showing up. If your images don't show up, then that means your resources is going to get packed into your jar. And if your jar doesn't launch, that means you're missing NovaFlux. And there's a lot of things that can go wrong when you start packing jars. But this is how you deploy your game, and this little jar file will run on Windows, Mac, or Linux, although you might get a security warning from any place that you would download a jar, because generally jars aren't very safe, and so your operating system will normally tell you not to do it, but you always have to click, yes, I still want to download this. But this is how you distribute your game. You could put it up onto a website. You can, I don't know, put it on the source forge. You might be able to send it in an email depending on how big it is. Mine's 2.86 megabytes, but I don't know. I haven't tried sending these in emails. But that's how you package your jar file. And you can distribute it this way to any platform, really, that has Java installed, and there you go. So if you guys like my videos, make sure you comment and subscribe, and check out some of my other videos. I'm starting to come out with a programming series for Java for beginners. That way I can teach you guys how object-oriented programming works, and maybe you'll understand more of what I'm doing when I'm typing all this code, and it'll make you a better programmer if you watch them. But thanks for watching, guys, and make sure you subscribe.